Brandon. He played his trumpet to wake everyone up. It was really nice. I was already awake a little bit, maybe a couple minutes before, but it was nice just to get an official wake-up call and get everyone moving.
Sleeping last night, it was super cold. Like, I've never felt anything like that. It was freezing and I couldn't even feel my toes. I had to stand by the fire for like 20 minutes.
Sleeping last night, it was actually really cold at first, but I had a tarp over me and somehow I still got like wet, and I guess like when I woke up it iced over, so I was covered in ice this morning, but what can you do, you know?
I got up, put my tarp away, put my sleeping bag away, and we got all the breakfast supplies out, went over to the table and got our food, and we're cooking the hash browns right now as we speak.
So it's called the all-in-one breakfast, and it's just hash browns piled on top of that. It's bacon with eggs and cheese. But it's a pretty long process just because of heating coals, and after heating them, we have to actually each bring in the food. Like, it's a real team effort because each person has to do a separate chore. But once we start getting it all together, it's going to be really good.
Dutch oven uses coals to cook the food. We have to put some on the bottom and the top to distribute the heat equally.
Breakfast was delicious. It was an all-baked Mountain Man egg, hash browns, bacon thing. It was delicious and I couldn't eat enough.
We didn't make breakfast. Our big brother did, so it was nice to have the guys cook for us, but we had to do the dishes. So.
Unfortunately, tragedy has struck the Ulysses Martin Willie Company.
At the group meeting before we started to pull our handcarts today, our captain announced that one person had died in the night and also a baby. It was sad, but I think the rice bag is better, in a better place.
Okay, so before we left, one of the babies died, and so we had to, oh my gosh.
We were all like taking care of, because we're in the same family, we were all taking care of our baby, and we're like, he's not gonna die. We're not gonna let him die.
You walked away from the microphone.
We're not gonna let him die.
Anyway, their family had to bury their baby, and then we also had a marriage. It was Sarah Franks and
George something.
They've been courting for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, they got married and he showed how he proposed.
Their backstory, it was cute.
The track is a wonderful experience. I have enjoyed it in so many different ways and levels and to different extents. There is a wonderful spiritual part, but is most to me an eye-opener to how the trials that the saints went through, and I'm so grateful for them and their sacrifices. It's a really hard work. I'm dripping sweat all the time, but it just makes you feel so good and refreshed to know that it's not life or death here, but you are honoring people who did something wonderful for us.
So far, my experience, I've loved it so much. It's been so great and exciting. I loved every part of it.
And I have her for a sister, so that makes things so much fun.
It's been worthwhile. It's been definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Definitely worth coming. Some pretty cool stuff. And, you know, pulling a handcart is pretty hard, but teamwork is really awesome. Seeing everybody pull and having all the strength is pretty sweet.
It really touches your heart because you know that if you're having a rough time and you don't want to do it, then you think about what they had to go through, and it was so much more, and it just helps you push through what you're doing here, and it's a really great time.
Pushing the carts was really hard for us, but my family, the poor family, were really good at teamwork, and we talked to each other and we kept together, and we didn't leave anyone behind, so we got through it. But we know that the pioneers had a hard experience, but it was hard for us, so it was kind of like our little taste of what it really was like.
I think it's fun. It's difficult though.
It's difficult because it's a lot of pushing and you get tired, like fatigue, and it's a long distance, so it's hard to sustain the pushing and everything.
Well, our group was really amazing because we all worked together, and when we came to this crazy uphill, they all got this crazy momentum and they'd start running. It was just insane. The rest of us are hanging on for dear life at the back of the cart. But it was really cool because everybody was really enthusiastic and everybody had a great attitude. And sure, it was a little hard, but every time I thought, like, how hard it was, I thought, okay, this is so easy because what the pioneers went through, this is like a piece of cake. I think this is a great opportunity. It's very underestimated, in my opinion. I underestimated it. And it's very humbling as well.
As we started trekking today, we stopped maybe about an hour into it, and Brigham Young, who is portrayed as Colby Nottingham, that was kind of funny. He had this really gross, ugly wig, and he read this speech that Brigham Young gave about how the saints in the Salt Lake need to save the pioneers who were stranded.
Brother Brigham asked us to add more weight to our carts, more food and supplies for companies that were already in the valley that needed settling.
So we were walking on the trek, and while we were blasting old musical songs with our family, we had to stop for a little while, and Brigham Young started talking. He said something, but
I don't remember what it was.
I don't know.
I wasn't listening.
I got water dumped on my head, so by my best friend, so it was kind of a little bit of a traumatic experience, but I'm sure it was awesome.
First and foremost is to secure our own salvation and to do right pertaining to ourselves, and then extend a hand to save the others.
3 cheers for Brother Brigham. Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hooray! Wagon toe!
The steep hills that we had to go through, like the downwinds, those were really scary, but to know that we had a family that we can work with together and pull and like communicate and just work as a whole family, like all families should, like provided unity, and I felt love throughout it all.
You know, when the boys see that the girls are falling behind, they go, "Let me take it." We never say a word, they just walk up and let me take it. And the girls don't just stand walking behind, they're pushing, and there has never been a time that they weren't working together. They all feel the need to do their part at all times.
You could call me a prideful father, but I feel like our family has the best set of youth. As the weeks progress, I feel like they've gotten more and more close. First few days they were kind of trailing off with their friends, and the last night and this morning they've kind of all stayed together, and the youth have been great. I think there's a lot of love and excitement between the two of them. I haven't seen too many bickering or name calling.
Well, when you first get here, you get put into this family, you don't really know anybody, and it's kind of weird because they introduce themselves, but it doesn't really do much because you don't know them. And then as you get going, you all have to work together a lot to get through this because you can't have a family and not work together to be able to pull the carts. And so you start like talking and you have a lot of fun and you get to know the people more than just their first name. And it gets really fun because you guys start acting like a real family, and it's really amazing. Like, I'm gonna miss everybody.
What sticks out to me the most is my group's attitude. There was no complaining at all. I did not hear anyone complain a single word. And we all wanted to complain, we all wanted to stop, we wanted to quit, we wanted to just be like, someone just take me home. But we just went through it, and it was great. Like, it was a really good attitude, everyone was happy, and that's what stuck out to me the most.
Yeah, when we stop and have a little talk, it's good because it like shows, like it kind of helps with like the reenactment, and it kind of puts us in the right mood for what we're really doing, not just pulling hand carts all over the hills, but like kind of shows us what we're really doing it for and like how it was back then when they were doing it as well. So.
Stopped out for lunch in this big field, and it was kind of fun. We were just able to relax and sit down and detox from trekking and take our shoes off. And for lunch we had PB&J sandwiches, very traditional pioneer. It was good and it's filling. And after we were about to start trekking, some Indians showed up.
Captain, we got trouble!
Our captain said that they were okay and that they were harmless Indians, and some girls from a company brought over oranges and candy as a peace offering.
I'm sure a lot of the Indians probably weren't that nice along the trail because they just took what we gave them and left.